So originally we were gonna like go into super long, in-depth information about like the entire experience, but we decided we're just gonna like focus more on like the concert, getting Loft, and what happened in Loft. So this video won't be super long. Okay, so once we got to the venue, we ran to Taylor Nation, and Kevin wasn't there again, which was a big disappointment. But Allie was there, and we talked with her, and we took our photo, and she commented on me wearing a paper airplane necklace, and then she said to Xavier
something about me that was like,
she commented
something about how I was dressed up as a cheerleader, and I probably didn't like it or something.
He was like, you're not wrong, but whatever. So anyway, so after Taylor Nation, we made our way down to the pit, which is where we were sitting, B-stage pit.
B-stage.
And we like went against the back wall so that we'd have more room to dance. And also right behind the B-stage pit is like where Mama Swift and like famous people go and sit. So we kind of wanted to see them. So we just hung out there and we were jamming out to Shawn Mendes and Dance Joy. That was great. Everyone thought we were crazy.
Yeah, everyone in the pit was like super lame. I was expecting it to be like way crazier, but we were the only people going super insane. Yeah. And then during She Drives Me Crazy, we were dancing like maniacs, trying to get on the dance cam. Didn't happen. And then during Feel So Close, All Chill,
oh my God,
was lost.
We were so excited.
I was literally just kept screaming like over and over, and everyone was staring at us because no one else knew like what that song meant, but we did. Taylor came out, and
then we like turned around, and Shawn Mendes was walking in the pit behind us, like.
And he greets like the people that were there like with him, and then he came over to me and Sarah and like gave us big hugs, and we took selfies with him, which we'll show you right now. He was like the biggest sweetheart, and we ended up like dancing with him and his friends like during the concert because they were all fangirling over Taylor, which was hilarious. And then at one point Taylor was on the B stage and she was talking about how Toronto was Shawn's hometown and like discussing how proud she was of him and stuff, and Xavier started like clapping and then like slyly looked over at Shawn and kept clapping, and Shawn was like, thanks man. At one point I was jamming with one of his friends to Love Story, and Shawn just like started cracking up at us. He thought it was so funny.
Mama Swift was in the pit behind us too, and me and Xavier had never met her before, so Alana stayed in the pit and we walked out to the other one, and there was a security guard there, and he was like, no, you guys have to go back to your seats. But Mama Swift was like, no, it's okay. So she came over to us and we took some selfies with her, and she was like, oh, you guys look so cute, where are you guys sitting? And we're like, oh, we're right in the B-stage pit.
We were jamming, I don't remember what song it was, but we were just like dancing, and these girls that had been in front of us at Taylor Nation, they said to Sarah and Xavier like, oh my God, you guys are so lucky. Mama Swift was just pointing at you guys, and we were like mildly freaking out but trying to keep our calm because we didn't want to get our hopes up about anything. And but that was really exciting, so we kind of like had an idea but not really because
we didn't want to get our hopes up at all.
And we didn't like go into the concert like thinking, oh, we're gonna meet Taylor tonight.
Nope.
Like our friends had joked to us about it, and we were just like laughed it off, and then it ended up happening. And then after B stage acoustic set was over, then it was We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together, and that's my favorite performance on the tour. It's so good, and we were jamming so hard. There's actually a video of me and Sarah that we took like right before the whole Mama Swift Loft thing happened, which I'll insert here. So you can tell that we were like literally so being maniacs. Yeah. And I just happened to like glance behind me to the left, and I saw Mama Swift, and I like made eye contact with her and smiled.
I remember now, like after we made that video, you're like, Mama Swift's behind us.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
When we were going crazy with We Are Never Getting Back Together, and Taylor Swift's mom kind of like went like this to me, and I wasn't like really sure what to do or if she was even doing it towards me, but I'm assuming she was. And then so I just kind of like almost like ignored her and just kept dancing, and then all of a sudden I see
Mama Swift like walked my way, and I felt like a pat on my back, and I was like, oh my god, like no.
Yeah.
And
so-
I knew what was happening, so I turned around and I saw Mama Swift, and she was like,
And then Xavier wasn't, at this point,
Yeah,
Xavier didn't
right.
even
he
notice.
was still
I was still-
jamming.
So,
like
me and Alana,
out of
like,
it.
ran
we
over
were
to the
like,
fence,
oh my
talking to
god.
her.
And she was like, have you guys ever met Taylor? And I was
And we're
like,
like, oh no.
no, no, we haven't. And then Xavier like
Came
started
over.
paying attention,
Yeah.
and she was like, is it the three of you? And we were like, yeah. And she was like, do you guys want to meet Taylor tonight? And I
We
lost it.
Freaked out.
Collapsed into Mom Swift's arms,
Gave her a hug.
bawling
She was
my
loving
eyes out.
it too. She was just like watching us smiling.
It must be like the greatest job in the world to
I know.
just like make people's lives.
Yeah, so we all gave her huge hugs, and then like
Probably
she
gave her
said,
3 hugs that
she
day.
was like, okay, I'll be right back to give you guys your wristbands, and we're like, okay, and then she walked away, and we all freaked out. We're
And a
hugging
couple
each
songs
other.
passed.
Bawling. I was like in Sarah's arms for like 5 minutes
Yeah.
straight, just crying, and then Sarah and I were like,
No,
oh my god, we're about to meet Taylor Swift, like we can't cry, we
Right.
need to keep our makeup on our
Mhm.
faces. And she brought Keith Urban out at that point, and they sang 2 songs, and we were like so nervous about Mama Swift forgetting about us that we didn't even really pay attention to the performance.
I know, we just like
Yep.
kept our eyes trying to make sure that we always had Mama Swift in sight, because we were really nervous that she was going to forget.
And then after that, the guest performance was over, Enchanted Wildest Dreams mashup started, and Mama Swift came back and brought Steph with her, who works for Taylor Nation, and she like triple checked to make sure that we had not met Taylor before. I guess they were being really strict about it that night. Some nights it's more lenient, some nights they want to make sure that everyone in there has never met her. And we were like, yeah, we've never met her. She gave us our wristbands and handed us the Loft pass, and we freaked out again. We were a little bit more calm because now we were like, oh my god, it's really happening. And it kind of like, I guess it really hit us before, and now it just was like, oh my god.
When we actually had the wristbands and everything,
We
it
were
was
like,
like
oh my
Okay.
god.
Yeah,
And
we
then
were like, my heart was like in my throat.
the
whole
entire
time.
night.
Yeah.
The entire
We
night.
were like,
It was
it was like
crazy.
such a weird feeling, because you're like so excited, but you're like so nervous at the same time.
And it's
'cause you
just
don't know
so
what you're going to say to
surreal.
her, and you don't know what's...
Like,
Oh.
it's
There's so
something that
much
you
we
never
could've
expect
said.
to happen to you, because out of 50,000 people, like 20 people got Loft that night, and
Right.
we happened to be 3 of them. Like, that's unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
And then it hit me that I was going to meet Taylor, and that I was going to get her to write out my tattoo, which I've been
I know.
talking about for forever. Shake It Off started. She was wearing the Christmas tree, so I was really happy about that, because that's my favorite Shake It Off outfit. And then we were like, oh my god, we need to like go to the section. There's gonna be like a ton of people. We're never gonna get there. And
went
we
to the
thought,
wrong place.
yeah, we thought we had to go to the top of the section. It was the bottom of the section.
So we...
But-
fought everyone up and we had to fight everyone back
Yeah.
down.
yeah.
But it was worth it going up there, because Xavier went somewhere and found me a piece of paper for
Yeah.
Taylor to write on, because we were like, oh my god, like we don't have paper,
Yeah.
and we needed paper. So we got that. We went back down. We found there's other people up there that thought they had to meet at the top too. So we like went down with them. And then the Taylor Nation people, and it was Steph, right? She like went over the rules.
Yeah, went over
Yeah.
the rules.
And
we had to
like
fill out
we
some
had
information.
to fill out a form with like our personal information and whatnot, and told us all the rules for Loft. And then Allie was there too, so we talked to her for a little bit again. I don't think she really recognized us, but
I thought she did, but
But we
Lots
talked to
of
her
it.
about like what it was like to work for Taylor Nation and stuff, and I was like, yeah, that's my dream job. Like, I'm studying to do something like that. So it was cool to hear like about how she broke into it and what it was like. So that was awesome. And then we started walking backstage, and we were like, oh my
Oh my
god.
God.
It was really cool to be like backstage in a
it was
big
really
arena
like,
that.
secure and like proper. Like everyone had to no cell phones when you were walking backstage. You couldn't take any pictures until you got into Loft, and it was just
And then
very
I took like
very
an
strict.
epic selfie walking in. That is absolutely hilarious. And Loft ended up being like way smaller than I was expecting.
It
I
was
think
wicked cool.
I think that it varies like venue to venue, because some venues obviously have more room, whereas this one didn't. But it was, as soon as I got in there, I was like one of the first people to walk in. I ran straight to the couch because I knew that we needed a couch photo, especially because Sarah and I had taken those photos earlier at our hotel. So ran to the couch, we sat down, and they were like, you can take as many pictures as you want, but when Taylor comes in, phone's away, camera's away.
They're,
And they have
there's,
security walking around to make sure you're following the rules.
and there's like a photo booth and stuff in there, and there's pizza and drinks and cookies and
Cookies.
stuff. So there was a lot of stuff you could do in there.
Yeah.
So-
And we ended up not waiting that long. Normally, I've heard that it takes Taylor a while to get there because she normally showers, I guess. But since it was an inside arena and it's like the fall time now, she must not have done that because she came like 10, 15 minutes
Yeah,
later.
it didn't feel like long at all.
Really, really quick. We talked with like some of the other people in there. Once Taylor came in, she was like, we were the third to last people to talk to Taylor because she went like around like this. And
Mama Swift was there before her, right?
No,
she came in with Taylor.
Oh,
And
she did.
so she came and like briefly talked to everyone. We talked to her and we thanked her again for picking us, and she was like, you guys you're so welcome. You guys totally deserved it. You did not stop moving the entire night. And so that means
nice.
she really like was watching us the entire time, which is insane.
Yeah.
And we really were going absolutely crazy.
And
I've never
then-
been so exhausted after a concert as I was that night.
I know, for real. And we all took like a proper photo with her when we were in there with like Alana's nice camera.
Mhm.
And then she's like, have you guys used the photo booth yet? And we're like, oh, well, we didn't want to because Taylor's like in here now. And she's like, oh no. So she walked us over to it and she's like, excuse me, these people need to take a photo in the photo
And like
booth.
pushed us in.
Yeah.
It was like the funniest thing ever.
So
And then
we-
she went to the next group. We took some photos in there. So basically we just like watched Taylor go, like we sat on the couch and just watched her go around and like listen to her
It
conversations.
was cool
with
to
them.
eavesdrop.
I ended up
Cool.
photobombing
Cool
two
thing.
people's photos because I was just in the background like, oh my god. One of them's really funny and like people have shared it online because I look hilarious. It's just like my head poking up and smiling at Taylor.
Oh, it's funny.
Oh, it's great. I'll insert it right now.
So then we were next to meet Taylor, so we got to take our camera out, and she came over to us, and she was like, hi, buddy, to Xavier, and gave him a big hug, and then she's like, hi, babe, and she hugged me, and then she hugged Alana, and oh my god.
I didn't get a cute pet name.
That's okay. And
I think
then,
she ran out.
yeah, and she was just like, oh, you guys
How do you guys
look
know everybody?
No, she's like, you
You
guys look so cute. And we're like, thank you. And then she was, she asked us how we all knew each other. She's like, are you guys siblings? Are you all best friends? We're like, we're all best friends, but me and Xavier have been dating for like 5 years. And she's like, couple goals. That was like my favorite line of the whole night.
It was
awesome.
great.
And
We told her about
You are in love.
You Are. I forgot. We told her about You Are in Love and how me and Sarah said when we get married, that's what our wedding song is going to be. And she loved it. She was like, oh my god. And then I said, but it came with a little bit of a fight because Alana was like, oh, that's like, we were like, must have been like talking about the album. And then we were both like, that's, and then Alana was like, oh, that's what I want too. And then, but me and Sarah were dating longer. So Alana was a nice friend and is going to let us use it. And then Taylor Swift said to Alana
That she was gonna have to work on a wedding song for me on her next album, and I almost dropped to the ground.
and she said it multiple times
yeah,
too.
she like kept talking about it. She's like, I have to write a
on
worthy
more.
song for you.
She's like, I have
And
to work
then-
on more wedding music.
Yeah, and then like at the end, she talked about it again. Like when she left, she was like, I'll be working on that song for you, and I just like can't believe that happened. And then she asked us like where we talked to her about Saratoga.
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
Xavier loves that Carly Simon song.
You're So Vain.
And Taylor performed it with her on the Red Tour. So he asked her if like she'd ever been to Saratoga, and she said she had, but
We're not sure.
we're not really sure because she just like assumed that she had been there. She's never been to the racetrack, so probably not.
But she said it was like beautiful and stuff, which
So-
it is. So I don't really know.
So yeah, she could have been there. I don't. She said she did a show there, but I don't think she ever did. And then she asked, like, we told her that's where we're from. We drove 7 hours to get to the show, and she was like, wow, that's awesome road trip. And then the next night on the B stage, she talked about how, like, oh, a lot of people in the crowd are from Toronto, but I know there's also a lot of people that traveled to get here and took road trips. And I was like, oh my god, that's us. That's us. She remembers. And then she was like, oh, can I sign some stuff for you guys? And Xavier handed her the Loft pass because I was a nice friend and let him have it, even though I wanted it.
I know.
And
wish
obviously
we each
Sarah
got
did too. I know. I don't know why they do that. But,
Photocopies, whatever.
yeah, true. We got photocopies.
And she
So
said-
she flipped it over and she asked what his name was, and you can tell this story.
So she asked what my name was, and I told her Xavier, and she's like, she made a funny face. She was like, "That's so exotic. I only see that in like movies and famous people or something." It was so cool. I was like, "Oh, awesome." It was pretty neat.
And then I handed her my little piece of paper. I don't even know where I got it from.
It was that girl that was handing out signs that wanted to hold up signs.
So I like folded it up, and she asked me what my name was, and she asked if there was an H on the end of my name, and I was like, no. And then she was about to hand it back, and I was like, can you write out Enchanted on there for me? And she's like, okay, does it have to be neat? And we're like, well, it's gonna be for a tattoo, so kind of. So she's like, oh, okay. And she like took her time, and then she's like, boom, she put a period at the end. She's like, how about that? That's good.
It was so funny.
It was funny.
And then it was time for my signature, and obviously I knew that I wanted a tattoo. So I was like, can I actually have you write a tattoo out for me too? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, can it be? But she found herself, and somehow that was everything. And she was like, oh boy, I'm gonna have to focus for this one. So she sat on like the ottoman that was in front of the couch and like put it on her lap and took her sweet time like writing it out, making sure every letter was perfect. Like it was the funniest thing to watch. And then I was like, patted her on the back and I like talked to her, and she didn't hear a single thing that I said. And I was telling her about how at the Philly show I got upgraded to front row, and then she ended up liking my photo on Tumblr while I was at the show, and I was like freaking out. And she was, when she finished writing it, she was like, were you just talking to me? Because I honestly didn't hear a single thing you said. And I was like, that's okay, you were really focusing. And she like handed me, or like showed me the thing, and then she added like a ... to the front, and she was like, this makes it perfect. And then she flipped it over and asked for my name and wrote it out. And then she was like, so I liked your photo on Tumblr. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, do I follow you? And I was like, yeah, you do. And she was like, what's your URL? And I said, we are in screaming color. And she was like, oh my gosh, thank you. Because that's her lyric, obviously. And then she was like, okay, so let's take a photo. So we sat on the couch, and Taylor sat in between me and Sarah, and Xavier sat next to Sarah. And we were like, so what pose should we do? And she was like, And then she like crossed her legs and put her arms out like this.
She just did it.
And she was like, okay, we're going to do this.
And then I was like, what am I supposed to do?
Do I have to do that? And she was like, no. And then so we like all got ready and we took the photo.
And Xavier put his arm around like Taylor
and spread out my legs.
Yeah, you can see like up Xavier's pants in the photo.
On accident, I don't know why, but
and then Steph ended up not liking the first one for whatever reason, but that ended up being our favorite one and the one we like shared everywhere. So we took a second one, but that one didn't come out as good. But it stinks because we used flash and we had red eyes. But oh well, what are you gonna do? Because it was better quality. That's why we took out my camera instead of my phone.
I'm glad we did that.
And then I was next to Taylor, so I was the first one to say goodbye. So I like wrapped her up in this huge hug, and I did not want to let go. It was literally the longest hug ever. She was ready to let go, and I like grabbed her tighter, and I was like, thank you so much for everything. I love you so much. And she was like, oh, I love you too. And then Sarah.
Yeah, when I was on the other side of her, so she like turned, and I hugged her, and I was like, I just love you so much. And she's like, I love you too. And then her and Xavier like hugged, but he just like leaned in front of me. So I was like awkwardly behind them as they're hugging. And
then she mentioned again to me that she was gonna work on that song for me. And then she like said bye. It was nice to meet you guys, and went on to the next group. And then that was it. She was like, I'm so tired, I have to go to bed. Yeah. And said, bye everyone, nice to meet you all.
Hey.
And we took like, we didn't take any more photos, but we grabbed.
Because we had to put our phones away.
Yeah, and then we grabbed pizza,
slice of pizza and
Coke, Diet Coke on our way out. And the pizza was gross.
It was gross, but I was hungry.
Because we're New Yorkers, so like New York pizza, Canada pizza does not compare. But then we like got lost trying to get out of the arena because the security like didn't even know where we were supposed to go. And then we were like in like this back hallway. Yeah, we think we walked by her room actually. We like peeked in, but we couldn't see her.
Yeah.
And then we're in like this back hallway, and we decided to take a group loft photo because we didn't get to do it in there. And we wanted to take one with Taylor, and we forgot. But So we did that, and then we finally found our way to the parking garage, and then Sarah and I were dead.
Yeah.
So we laid on the ground, like,
and
pretending to be dead,
yeah.
and Xavier took a photo of us, and it was hilarious, and I'll insert it
here. And then we got in the car and we're like,
we cried
what
our
the
eyes
hell?
out.
What is
What
that
just
noise?
happened? And we like walked by cars as we were like leaving. I don't know why they were still in the parking garage, and we were like, we just met Taylor Swift. Everyone just looked at us like we were crazy.
Awesome.
It was just a crazy night. Like I still can't believe it happened, but
Me
it was
either,
awesome.
honestly.